Good morning. I'm SK Raut. I'll be taking your class on Indian Constitution. Okay. So we start the class. How many of you are there? Good morning. Okay. So we start the class. Okay. Indian polity. Sorry. Just a minute. It says your Indian Constitution. Your syllabus is Indian. Okay. Should we wait for? Well, should we start the class? Yes. Okay, the topic is Indian polity, Indian constitution. Okay, we should start the class now. Indian constitution for your West Bengal public service conducted examinations. Okay, should we class start the class? Okay, what do you mean by constitution? What do you mean by that is what do you mean by constitution exactly? What is the meaning of constitution? What do you mean by it? Well, constitution is a that is a fundamental contains fundamental principles. Fundamental, sorry, fundamental that is called fundamental. Sorry, the pen is not working. Just a minute. Okay. 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 So that is known as that it contains fundamental principles under which various organizations and the state itself is governed. Okay, it's fundamental fundamental principles fundamental principles principles on which the state and other organizations other organizations sorry are governed. Okay, that is the concise definition of Constitution of India. Are you getting my point or not? Fundamental principles that governs. Are you all of you are okay with English, or should I speak sometimes in Hindi? आप किसी में कंफर्टेबल है, इंग्लिश और हिंदी? Any comment please? Yes, Sabakas? Yes please. Are you comfortable in English? Okay, so a constitution is a fundamental principles on which the state and other organizations are governed. Okay, so क्या कहते हैं constitution एक document है, a fixed laws, fundamental laws, that is the major source of law. इसके हिसाब से देश गवर्न किया जाता है. कोई कुछ भी लॉ, कुछ भी लेजिस्लेशन या कुछ भी एक्ट यहाँ बने तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के मुताबिक बनना चाहिए. Okay, thank you. So should we continue in English? Thank you very much. So constitution is a fundamental principle, and each democratic country should have a constitution. Although there is a written constitution for which state, which country has unwritten constitution. That is your UK. UK has unwritten constitution, but most of the democratic countries have constitution. Okay, so constitution helps the country be governed smoothly and giving justice to the people. A democratic constitution should have the motto for providing justice and rights to the people. Okay, there is a difference. Okay, democratic constitution. We are talking about democratic constitution. Okay, a non-democratic country may have a constitution, but a democratic constitution should have some features or should have provisions for ensuring rights. Okay, rights that we call fundamental rights and other constitutional rights to the citizens. So Indian constitution is what type of constitution? It is a democratic constitution and it contains some written provisions for the governance of the country. Are you are you clear? Is it clear for you? Okay. So constitution is contains fundamental principles on which the state. Here the state means what? Here the state means the country, the concept state. State is a political concept. Okay, state is a political concept, and we need to understand state as a political unit, as a political unit, and it contains what? The elements of the state. What are the elements of the state? Please define. What are the elements of the state? The elements of the state are population, government, okay, territory and sovereignty. So here constitution is meant for a state means the country. Okay, and the elements of the state is, modern state is what? Population. There should be population, and there should also be sovereignty means independence, and there should be what? Territory, and then your government. So that's the state we are talking about here. You're not the state West Bengal is a state or Odisha is a state. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a democratic state, a political concept. So therefore, the state here means the country, India. Okay, if you consider Indian. So Indian constitution is a document that contains fundamental principles for the governance of the state and its related organizations. Clear? Okay, that is called constitution. Okay, now talking about the evolution of the constitution. If you consider evolution of the constitution, okay, the constitution has been evolved. Constitution has been evolved with experiments, during the British period. All the credit of having a constitution should be given to whom? Given to the British government. The British was ruling. Okay, so we should focus on some important aspects that were made during the British period for having a constitution. Okay, should we make that? We should now learn some important provisions that were made during the British period. Okay, if you go through the British period, you will see that since the very beginning, even since the regulating act, there was a hint of constitutional development. Okay, the regulating act 1773, the Pitt's India Act 1781. There have been many charter acts also 1813, 1833, 1853. Okay, and there have been certain council acts also 1861, 1909, and 1909, and the Government of India Act 1919 and Government of India Act 1935. All these acts made certain provisions for the evolution of a constitution. Okay, if you consider Government of India Act, okay, Government of India Act 1958. It is a historic act in the British India history. Why? Because in this act, a system of direct rule, direct rule, direct rule was established in British India. That means the company rule came to an end. Okay, and the British government ruled India directly since 1858. What does it mean? It means that British Parliament enacted laws and legislations for ruling India. Are you getting my point or not? Yes, the British Parliament enacted various legislations for the governance of British India. Okay, and in this act, what happened? Now the Governor General of India came to be known as Viceroy, isn't it? The Governor General came to be known as Viceroy, and Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. Okay, we are going in a brief manner because historical background of Indian Constitution is a part of modern India. You shall be learning that. Here I am telling you the important aspects that were made during the British time. Okay, we are not going detail here. We shall go detail from making of the constitution. Okay, I am telling you some brief or important aspects that are valuable for having a constitution, or that are valuable for our for understanding Indian constitution. Okay, if you remember that the post of, or the office of Governor General, the office of Governor General, Governor General, Governor General was created. General was created when? Was created when? Okay, when it was created? It was created under Charter Act, Charter Act 1833. And who became the first Governor General of India? Okay, who became the first Governor General of India? That is Lord, Lord whom? Lord William Bentinck. Lord William Bentinck became the first Governor General of India. And the concept of India, British India, came to be properly manifested in this Act 1833. Okay, the office of the Governor General came to be known as office of the Viceroy under the said Act. Which Act? That is your Government of India Act 1858, and a direct rule was established. It means that the company rule came to an end. Okay, company rule came to an end under this Act. And also it provided for an office of, that is your office of, that is what? Secretary of State. Secretary of States. Okay, so that is the things about the Secretary of the office of the Secretary of the State. And the office of the Secretary of the State was created under this Act. Okay, who was the first Secretary of the State? Who was the first Secretary of the State? That is Lord Stanley. Lord Stanley was the first Secretary of the State. Lord Stanley was first Secretary of State in British India. Okay, who was he? He was a member of British cabinet. So one cabinet minister was kept in charge of the British India. Okay, he was the sovereign head, but he was the head. Sorry, not sovereign head. He was the head of British India, and Viceroy of India was ruling the ruling from directly, that is on behalf of the British India here in India. Who was the first Viceroy? It is Lord Canning. So Government of India Act established direct rule, and gradually there has been certain evolutions in towards the constitution. Okay, as British was having a constitutional government and a sovereign government, so in the same manner they tried to rule India. Apart from other acts, if you notice Government of India Act 1919, if you notice Government of India Act 1919, you will see that the you will see that there has been a constitutional government was provided in the Government of India Act 1919. A constitutional government was provided. For example, direct election was provided, and the Central Legislative Council became bicameral under this act, isn't it? And diarchy was introduced. That is, diarchy was introduced in the British Indian government. Diarchy was introduced. Okay, if you notice the thing about the diarchy was introduced in British government, and diarchy means, what do you mean by diarchy? Dual government. Okay, dual government was introduced in Government of India Act 1919. That is called diarchy. And bicameralism, direct election was introduced. Okay, apart from other things. And then the Government of India Act 1935 provided a foundation for Indian Constitution. You will notice that the Constitution of India is a derivative of, or is greatly that is has been greatly inspired by the Indian Government of India Act 1935. It is said that the Government of India Act 1935 is a major source of Indian Constitution. Okay, that means most of the provisions that we find in the present Constitution are borrowed from, that is, your Government of India Act 1935. Okay, it is a major source. Okay, that what it introduced. For example, number one, it introduced a federal government. That is a federal government. Federal government means division of powers. So it provided for a federal government and a provincial government. And for this purpose, it also provided for the for three lists. That is federal list, okay, and provincial list, and your concurrent list. So federal list means that the central government or the federal government, here we call it central government. The federal government should have some authority on certain subjects. There were 59 subjects, yes, 59 subjects in the federal list provided in the Government of India Act 1935. And for provincial government, there were 56, yes, around 56 subjects were given to state provincial list. And in the concurrent list, there were 36, yes, 36 subjects were provided. That means concurrent list means the central government and the state government have the authority to legislate upon the subjects mentioned in the concurrent list. Okay, so that is the thing about that is called federal government. You understand what is now it is clear what is the meaning of federal government. Okay, now the thing is that then what else the Government of India Act 1935 did? It also did that it provided for a federal Supreme Court. A federal Supreme Court to be established in India. Federal Supreme Court. Okay, that means the Federal Supreme Court, now it is called Supreme Court of India. Okay, so in the Act Government of India Act 1935. Okay, so in the Government of India Act, we are talking about Government of India Act that was provided in the that the Federal Supreme Court. So Federal Supreme Court was provided in the Government of India Act 1935, and that Supreme Court is now known as the what? Now it is known as Supreme Court of India. So the Government of India Act made many contributions for the framing of the Constitution. Apart from the Federal Supreme Court, apart from the Federal Supreme Court, that is called, we are talking about, sorry, that is Government of India Act, Government of India Act 1935. Please note it. This is a very hallmark act for our understanding of the Constitution. Okay, I'm just talking about the thing that what contributions made by the Government of India towards making of the Constitution. Okay, we are not going detail. I have told you clearly that we are not going detail about the historical background. Rather, we are focusing on the important aspects or important provisions of various acts that made contribution, valuable contribution towards making of the Constitution. So let me delineate the things that were made in the Government of India. First is federal form of government. First is federal form of government was provided. So that we have today. Don't we have a federal government? Yes, we have a federal government. Okay. Then okay, I will tell you drafting committee, don't worry. Then that is federal form of government, then federal Supreme Court, federal Supreme Court. Okay, I'm just delineating or making that is, sorry, federal Supreme Court, that is wrongly written. Just let me erase it first. Okay. Okay, so that is the things we are now right. Federal Supreme Court, Federal Supreme Court, that was established in the year 1937, and in 1950 it came to be known as Supreme Court of India. Then what else it provided? That is public service commissions, public service commissions, public service commissions. Okay, public service commissions. Three types of commissions were provided. One is that is your federal public service commission, provincial public service commission, and your that is joint public service commission. Okay, then the Government of India Act also made certain contribution for that is emergency and other features. So in broad way, in a nutshell, we can say that it is a major source of Constitution, and most of the provisions have been borrowed from Government of India Act 1935. Okay, now coming towards making of the Constitution. Making of the Constitution, what happened? That is making of the Constitution. What happened after how the Constitution of India was prepared? Okay, so now the demand for having a constitution, the demand for having a constitution were made for the first time by, that is your M.N. Roy. M.N. Roy, the founder, one of the founding members of the Constitution of India. Okay, he, for the first time, he proposed a constitution for that is independent India, for India. So that is we named the making of the Constitution, making of the Constitution. Okay, so in 1934, hello Digvijay sir. Okay, nice to see you here. Okay, you are also a great faculty in Vanik. Okay, so 1934, in 19 1934, M.N. Roy, the first man to propose a constitution. Then in 1935, Indian National Congress also made a demand for a written democratic constitution for India. Then in 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru also made a demand for having a written democratic constitution for a sovereign country, for independent India. The British sent a cabinet mission. The British sent a cabinet mission, that is their cabinet mission in 1946. British sent a. We are talking about cabinet missions that was there. Okay, so cabinet mission. We are talking about cabinet mission. Cabinet mission, that is 1946. This cabinet mission was sent by the Labour government to India to find out or to suggest measures for post-independent India. This mission recommended for in a nutshell, it recommended for a constituent assembly, for a constituent constituent assembly for undivided India. For undivided India. It did not favor partition. It provided for a constituent assembly for undivided India, and they would work together to have a written constitution. Apart from other recommendations, the major recommendation of the cabinet mission. Do you know who are the members of the cabinet mission? This prominent mission, yes, that is Stafford Cripps, A.B. Alexander, and Patrick Lawrence. If you remember, okay, they were the members of this great mission. They came to India in May 1946 and provided and recommended for a constituent assembly for that is a constituent assembly for undivided India. And on the basis of the recommendation of the constituent assembly on the cabinet mission, the constituent assembly was established. Okay, constituent assembly was established. Okay, so that is constituent assembly. We shall now talk about the constituent assembly. Who recommended the constituent assembly? The cabinet mission. It recommended for a constituent assembly for India. So we can write that constituent assembly of India. What is a constituent assembly? What do you mean by it? What do you mean by a constituent assembly? A constituent assembly is an assembly of people, of the then that is learned and experienced leaders of the then India, who sat together to constitute or to frame a written constitution for independent India. It was purely manned by Indians, no English members were present there. Okay, so that is the thing about the constituent assembly. Okay, so we can write it's an assembly of learned and experienced leaders of the then India to frame sat together to a constitution, frame a constitution for independent, sorry, independent, sorry, independent. I'm not good at writing. Okay, I will be, don't worry. Independent India. Okay, that is a concise definition of Constituent Assembly. The assembly of people, learned and experienced leaders of the then India to frame a constitution for independent India. Okay. Now we shall see that when the constituent, what was the strength of Constituent Assembly. Okay. So we shall see now the Constituent Assembly. Okay. So that is the things. Yes. Then the strength of Constituent Assembly of India. Okay. So strength, Constituent Assembly, strength. Strength. The recommended strength of the Constituent Assembly was 389. Okay, we are going towards drafting committee. Don't worry. Somebody asked me about drafting committee. Okay, I shall answer your question. Don't worry. Okay, strength was 389, and that 389 was that is divided into, that is 296 and 93. Okay, so 296 and 93 का मतलब क्या होता है? 296 were elected from, if you write from British provinces, from British India, India, sorry, British India provinces. So that is not working well. Okay, don't worry, I will just delete it. Okay. Okay. So British India provinces. Provinces का मतलब क्या होता है? States. Today we call it state. They were known as provinces. So 296 members were from the to the Constituent Assembly were to be from British India provinces. They were otherwise called governors provinces. And how many provinces were there in total? 11 provinces were there. Okay, Bengal was a province, Bombay was a province, Madras was a province at that time. Odisha was also a province at that time. Travancore, okay, so there were many. United Province was a province at that time. Okay, there were many provinces. Prominent among them were Bengal, Bombay, Madras. Okay, so these were the members. 296 members were to be from the British provinces. I will tell you how they were from. They were getting elected or nominated. That was a different thing. But for the first time, for the timing, remember that out of 389 members, 296 were from British India provinces, and that is 93 members from princely states. From princely states. Do you know what is the definition of princely states? Okay, let me tell you. Princely states were the provinces or the regions in India during the British time. They were not directly ruled by British India. They were not directly ruled by British India. They were indirectly ruled, and they were ruled by regional kings, regional rulers, and the rulers paid certain revenue to the British, and hence they were called Korodha. They paid revenue, the Korodha provinces. Okay, anyway, they were called princely states, so they were indirectly ruled by the British government. So out of these 389 and 290, then the manner of election, how they were, that's it. Out of 296 members, if you consider out of 296 members, 292 from governors provinces, and that is four from commissionerate state. Commissionerate, please follow me because the writing is not might not be clear. Commissionerate provinces. There are four: Delhi, Ajmer, Mewar, Coorg, Balochistan. Delhi, Ajmer, Mewar, Coorg in Karnataka, Coorg, and Balochistan. It is in Park. Okay, so that is four from that is commissionerate provinces, and they were today we call them in the language of British they were called commissionerate. Now we call them union territories. So out of 296 members, 290 from direct from commissionerate governors provinces. They were there. Why were they called governors provinces? Because they were ruled by the governors appointed by the British, and four from commissionerate provinces. In this way, the strength was divided. Clear? Okay. Now we shall move to the manner of election, manner of that is entry, manner of entry. How they entered, how they entered, how the members came, how the members got elected to the that is the commissionerate to the constituent assembly. Okay. Sure. So manner of election, manner of entry. We can write manner of entry of of members, members to CA. CA means Constituent Assembly. To CA. How they come? Okay. The members to the that is your the members from the British India, that is 296 members. 296 members 296 members 296 members were elected were elected by the members of provincial assemblies. Then it was a direct election or indirect election? It was an indirect election. So the members, 296 members were elected by the members of the provincial legislative assemblies on the basis of proportional representation. If I write on the basis of proportional representation, okay, by means of single transferable vote. So 296 members got elected, and the ratio was 1:10 lakh population. 1 million. 1:, what was the ratio? If I write what is the ratio? That is your 1:1 million. That means one representative representing 1 million people at that time, considering the population of India. Okay. So 296 members were elected from the British India provinces. There was a process of election. Now we shall see the that is your the members from the constituent the members from the British province, that is princely states. They were nominated by the rulers of the 93 members were nominated by the rulers of the British princely states. They were nominated. Okay. If we consider if that is the things, okay, they were nominated by the rulers. So princely state members were nominated, and so the members, let me write it because the writing is not okay. So the members elected how many members? That is 93 members. 93 members. Where the 93 members were sorry, that is not nominated. Sorry, that is elected. So we should scrape it. Okay. Okay. So please cooperate. The 93 members were nominated by the rulers of the princely states. Okay. So these are the things about the 93 members were nominated by the rulers of the princely states. And now the constituent assembly is formed, members got elected, and the election to the constituent assembly, the election, if I write, the election was held, in July August 1946. Out of the 296 seats, that is Congress owned 208 seats, INC, Indian National Congress, and that is 75 seats got elected were owned by Muslim League, and 15 by other seats, other parties. So 208, then 73 seats by Muslim League, and 15 seats by other parties. Okay, the election was held in which month? That is your you can say that is your in July and August of 1946. Okay, so that election complete, nomination also to be made by the princely states, so there was no need. So the first meeting, the first meeting, the Constituent Assembly was formed, and the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9 December 1946. If you consider, the first meeting was held on 9 December 1946. So 1946 में first meeting was. Then on 11 December, if you consider, on 11 December, that is on 11 December, that Rajendra Prasad became the permanent president of the assembly. Okay, permanent president of the assembly. Okay, so but on 9 December, who was the president? That is presided by Dr. Sachidananda. That is Sachidananda. Please follow me. Sachidananda Sinha became the first, that is temporary president of the Constituent Assembly. He was the oldest member. of the British provinces, and hence he was elected as the Constituent Assembly president, for temporary president of the Constituent Assembly. Okay, then the that is Constituent Assembly was first presided over by Dr. Sachidananda Sinha. Then on 11 December, Rajendra Prasad became the first president or the permanent president. Okay, so you can write that Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who later became the first president of India. Rajendra Prasad became the permanent president, permanent president, president of the sea. Okay, so that the Constituent Assembly continued. Remember that Constituent Assembly met not regularly but session wise. So there were, you can see there were 11 sessions in total. 11 sessions. Okay, there were 11 sessions in total. Total sessions 11. Okay, how did they meet? They meet and discussed the provisions, various provisions that is derived from any other constitution or it was present in the Government of India Act. Then there was a consensus, that means there was a vote and there was a consensus among the members of the Constituent Assembly. Then after the Constituent Assembly, after a provision was approved by the Constituent Assembly in a majority consensus or majority vote, then it was included in the Indian Constitution. So it was not that any member imposed its view in the Constitution. It was all agreed by the Assembly, by the August Assembly, or by the, that is Assembly of the highly learned and experienced people from different provinces, from different religions. It was a democratic body, so to say. It was representing from different sections, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs and other religions, and from different provinces too. Okay, so learned people, learned men and women took part in the assembly, and it was all decisions were made by consensus. What by consensus? Okay, so that is the parameter on which the Constituent Assembly decided and framed the Constitution. Okay, then another thing happened on 13th December 1946. The objective resolution, if you are getting my point, objective resolution drafted by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was moved in the assembly. Okay, objective resolution, that is also a notable aspect. It comes as a question in your examination, that on 13 December, on 13 December 1946, objective resolution okay, objective resolution was presented or moved in the assembly. Was, please let me write, was moved in the CA, and it was approved. It was approved on 22nd January 1947. Got it? It is a very important provision because the objective resolution contained the future shape of, or the shape of future Indian Constitution. It contained, the objective resolution contained the shape of future Indian Constitution. Jawaharlal Nehru had conceived the idea of a constitution, okay, and the Indian Constitution, and he presented the objective resolution in the Constituent Assembly that was approved unanimously by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd January 1947. So it is a very historic day. And I told you that Constituent Assembly did not let anything, okay, anything by the direction or by the order of a single person or a group of persons. That is, everything was done by concession by the assembly. Got it? So the Constituent Assembly continued. It was constituted in 1946, and when India got independence. It's very silliest of all questions, isn't it? 15th August 1947. Okay, why I'm telling it? On after the 1947, after 1947, changes occurred in the constitution. Changes after 15th August 15th August 1947. Got it? What changes occurred in the Constituent Assembly? Means before that it was not a sovereign body, because the British was there. British left India. That is on 15th August 1947. Thereby the what was the act? What was the act that they enacted? What was the last act? Yes, that is Indian Independence Act was enacted, and under the act, British sovereignty lapsed, and the British Parliament ceased, seized, stopped to have any legislation, or to propose or to draft or to pass any legislation for independent India. Now the Indian affair was totally or completely, absolutely given to Indians under the Indian Independence Act. So after 1915 August 1947, the assembly, the CA, I'm writing the CA became a sovereign body. Sovereign body. That means an independent body. Sovereign means what? Independent from all angles. Sovereign, sarvabhauma. That is sovereign body means completely independent body. Okay. Then what else? What else that took place? That it performed. Am I audible? Am I any problem? Yes, sound problem. Okay. I'm speaking louder, and as loud as I can. Okay. So it performed dual role. It performed dual role. Yes, it performed, that is dual role, dual functions. Dual functions means that see, when British left India, the some institutions should be there to make laws for make provisions or make legislations for independent India. So the Constituent Assembly functioned as a provisional parliament for India. Provisional parliament for India. And when it was performing as a provisional parliament, it was chaired by G.B. Mavalankar, the first speaker of Lok Sabha. Are you getting my point or not? Constituent Assembly functioned dual role, and for first role is it functioned as a provisional parliament for free India, and at that time it was chaired by your whom? Your, that is G.B. Mavalankar. Okay, so that is called G.B. Mavalankar. Okay, so G.B. Mavalankar. He became the chairman of the and presided over the provisional parliament. That Constituent Assembly acted as provisional parliament because parliament has not been set up. Constitution was in making. Then it also performed its original role of making the constitution. At that time, it was presided over by the Rajendra Prasad. That is called your dual role of the Constituent Assembly. Okay, one is provisional parliament, another is that is Constituent Assembly. Then the strength reduced to 299. Strength reduced to 299 because Parliament Pakistan would have its own Constituent Assembly, so the members left for Pakistan, and it was reduced to 299, 270 from British India, 29 from Princely States. Okay, if you divide it, 270 and 29, 29 from British India, and that is 29 from Princely States and 270 from British India remained. The Constituent Assembly performed in this way. Okay, so that is the things about the changes after changes after 15th August 1947. Okay, okay. Now the Constituent Assembly, that is the CA, Constituent Assembly, took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to complete the Constitution. Complete the Constitution. Okay, that is most important. 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. Okay, 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to complete the Constitution. Okay, the onerous and the most Herculean task of making a constitution for a country of India's size and dimension took nearly 3 years. To be exact, 2 years, 11 months, 18 days was taken. It's all agreed, universally agreed by all books and authors. So don't doubt. That is the things, that 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. Okay, got it? So the Herculean task, because making a constitution for a for India, for a country like for a country of India's size and dimension, was not at all a simple thing. Okay, so it is took 2 year 11 months. Okay, so now the constitution is complete. We shall discuss the committees, some important committees, the chairmen, and as you have asked, the drafting committee also. But before that, let me say other functions of the Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly, the important task before the Constituent Assembly was to prepare a constitution, but it also performs certain other functions during the time period. Okay, so we shall write other functions. You can write other functions or activities of the CA. But in between the things, the Constituent Assembly also, that is, approved or adopted national flag of India, national flag of India on 22nd July 1947. The tricolor flag was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd July 1947. Okay, then it also adopted that is number 2, it adopted the national anthem on 24th January 1950. National anthem drafted by the famous noted Rabindranath Tagore. He is the only person in the world and one of the first Nobel laureate, my favorite. Okay, I have read its Gitanjali, and I have also gone through some important works and writings. Okay, it's one of my favorites. It was drafted by Rabindranath Tagore and is the only person to have drafted national anthem for two countries, Bangladesh and India. Amar Sonar Bangla also was drafted by, as all of you must be knowing that, also drafted by Tagore. And the national anthem of India, Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka, the first stanza of the song has been adopted as national anthem. Okay, Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka Jai Hai. Okay, and it was adopted by the Assembly on 24th January 1950. Sorry, 1950. Then number 3. Good afternoon, Satyaranjan. Good afternoon. You have joined late. Okay, so we have carried on for 1 hour about. Okay, okay. So okay, all right. So number 3, it adopted that is the national song, that is 24th January, same day, 1950. Okay, national song, that is Bande Mataram, that adopted by none other than Bankim Chandra. And do you know the song has been borrowed from Bankim Chandra's famous novel? Yes, which novel? That is Ananda Matha. So Bankim Chandra's Ananda Matha, and the song became very famous during Swadeshi movement, as all of you must have an idea about that. So it was adopted by the Assembly to be the national song of India on 24th January 1950. And another thing that was also made on this occasion, on this day, that is Rajendra Prasad became the first president of India. Rajendra Prasad became the first president of India. Okay, and these are the other functions of the Assembly. Other functions of the Assembly. It was adopted, and remember, 24th January 1950. 24th January 1950 was also the last working day of the Constitution. Okay, the 24th January. Another thing about the Constitution. The Constitution was adopted on 26th November 1949. 24th January was the last working day of the Constitution, but 26th November 1949, this day, the Constitution was adopted. Okay, enacted and given to the people by themselves. Okay, on this day, some provisions came into effect on this day, where Parliament that came into effect immediately. Number 2, election came into effect immediately, and that is citizenship also came into effect at the time. Citizenship also came into effect at this time. Okay, so Parliament, election, and citizenship that came into effect. Got it? Now the rest of the things came into existence. Okay, then that is date of commencement of the Constitution. Commencement of Constitution, that is when the Constitution came into effect, that is 26th January 1950. The rest of the constitution came into effect on 26 January 1950. It was chosen as the day because on this day in the Lahore session the Indian flag was hoisted, a complete independence was passed, and the Indian flag was hoisted on the bank of river Ravi on 26 January 1930 to commemorate the day. To commemorate the day, the the Constituent Assembly selected this day as the date of commencement of the Constitution. So since 26 January 1950, since 26 January 1950, Indian Constitution or India became a, that is, sovereign. Okay, so let me write it. Since 26 January 1950, India has become a sovereign, democratic republic country, and later secular and socialist features were added by 42nd Amendment. We shall be discussing that. But remember, it is not it is not since but on. You can write on on 26 January 1950. The that is on 26 January 1950, India became. You can write became. That's grammatical error. Okay. So that is became a sovereign democratic republic country. Okay. Then later the word socialist and secular were added by 42nd Amendment. We shall be discussing that, the things about the thing. Okay. Now the committees. Now the committees of the Constituent Assembly. Okay, committees of the Constituent Assembly. Some information. Okay, brief account of committees of the CA. Remember, the Constituent Assembly was a body of lawyers and several people. Okay, so that was there, and the tasks were distributed among various committees because it was not possible to go reading between the lines or go through each provision in detail in the assembly itself. So there were several committees established in the Constituent Assembly. Okay, there were union committees, Union Power Committee, Union Constitution Committee, and States Committee. They were all chaired by Jawaharlal Nehru. Then there were also Provincial Constitution Committee. That was Sardar Patel was taking the charge, and he was also the chairman of Committee on Fundamental Rights and Fundamental Rights of the that is secluded sections of the society. Then there were also Rules and Procedure Committee that was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and there was also Steering Committee. It was also chaired by Rajendra Prasad. Okay, are you listening to me or not? Okay, so they were provincial committee and major committee. There were several other committees also. I will be providing a write-up slide in the next class. We shall be also discussing some prelim based or some objective questions on these chapters. At that time, I will be giving a list of several committees with its heads, and you must have also got some book on polity. Okay, you must check it. Okay, we shall be discussing. But major committee that was there was drafting committee. Drafting committee. Okay, so drafting committee it was set up on, that is, 29th 29th August 1947. 29th August 1947. Okay, so 29th August 1947 में set up हुआ था, and it was chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It was chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, so that was the things, and other prominent members were in. It was chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and there were total 7 members. It was a 7-member committee. It was a 7-member committee. Okay, it was a 7-member committee. It was a 7-member committee. Okay, and it submitted 2 drafts. Okay, there were members like N. Gopalswamy Iyengar, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, Dr. K. Munshi, Said Muhammad Sadullah, N. Madhav Rao, okay, and later T.T. Krishnamachari, who replaced D.P. Khaitan. So there was a 7-member committee, and it set up, it provided 2 that is 2 drafts simultaneous, means one after another, and it prepared the constitution. Constitution was first written in English. Remember, constitution was first written in English, then it was the Hindi version was adopted. Hindi version of the constitution was adopted in 1954. Am I audible or not? Yes, please comment. Am I audible? Okay, so it was adopted. Hindi version was adopted on, that is in 1954, but first it was written, and a person who calligraphed the Indian Constitution, Prem Narayan Raijadar, a Parsi, who wrote the Constitution in his beautiful handwriting. Okay, so that is the about the committees. Remember the committees. I will tell you about I will give you a write-up on the committees. Don't worry about that. Okay, we shall be clear in everything. I shall provide you. हम कोशिश करेंगे. I shall try my best to satisfy your requirement in Indian polity, and I will also try to ensure that all of you are comfortably attending the questions on Indian Constitution in your various examinations conducted by West Bengal Public Service Commission. Okay, I am trying my best, and the thing is that you have to ensure that if any doubt, you can post me. You can also write here. I will be happy to know that you are listening to my class, and give comments. Okay, give also any problem you are facing with regards to sound problem. I will be discussing with them, but if any doubt over any things that I am giving lecture, then please post here. I shall see and I shall check also. If any error is made, then also you are welcome to present here so that I can know and rectify it. Okay, because I don't want that a single mark will be spoiled uh, for you by me. Okay, so a one mark is also important because all of you are appearing in competitive examination, and competitive examination में एक mark भी मायने रखता है, एक मायने भी important, one mark is also very very important. Okay, so friends, we have completed the making of the constitution. And the constitution, the if you go through the if you look at the original strength of the constitution, if you look at the original strength, original things, we shall discuss it. Okay, so the the constitution of India, constitution of India, constitution of India, constitution of India content originally content originally content 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts. Original means in 1950. In 1950, it contained 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts. Okay, so these are the things about. And now at present, if you write the Constitution of India originally contained 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts. Okay, and at present, if you consider at present, okay, at present it contains at present at present sorry at present it contains it contains about 465 articles, 12 schedules and about 25 parts. We shall discuss that. First, kindly take this into account that originally it contained 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts. Now it contains the 465, about 465 articles, and uh, that it was originally it was 395 articles. Now it is about that is now it is about 465 articles, and there are about 12 schedules. Okay, so and about your 25 parts, if you notice. Okay, we we shall discuss the parts and schedules even today we shall start it. But remember, it is the situation, it is the information that you have to remember. 465 articles, 12 schedules, and 25 parts. Okay, I shall give you also a list of parts we shall discuss in breadth. Today we shall discuss the schedules, I think. Okay, so that is the things. Okay, we have time, so I want that I should start schedules. In the next class we shall have parts and also some that is we shall remember also parts we shall discuss in the in today's class. I shall discuss the schedules. Okay, we have time, so we start schedules of Indian Constitution. Schedules of Indian Constitution. Okay, so what do you mean by schedules? Schedules are list or a list of the constitution, are lists of the constitution, list of the constitution. There were how many schedules? 8 schedules. At present, we there are that is 12 schedules. Okay, so originally there were 8 schedules, and at present there are 12 schedules. Okay, so that is the thing about a list of the constitution. Originally there were 8 schedules, at present there were 12 schedules of the Indian Constitution. Okay, now I shall go till try to discuss some schedules today, and if anything left we shall complete it, that is in the next class. Okay, so that is the thing, schedules of Indian Constitution. So if you go to the first schedule, if you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, first schedule, it contains names of union, names of states, names of states, names of states and union territories. So at present, how many states? 28 states and 9 union territories are there. Okay, so first schedule contains names of states and union territories. One thing I need to tell you here also, whenever a new state is formed or a new union territory is formed, most of you must be knowing that recently Jammu and Kashmir was de-recognized as a state and was divided into 2 union territories. That is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Union Territory of Ladakh. So this schedule is amended. That the name of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been entered in this schedule. So whenever new state is effected or created, or new union territory is created, then the first schedule is amended. So at present India contains 28 states and 9 union territories. Is that clear? Am I clear or not? 28 states and 9 UTs. You remember the UTs and the state capitals? Okay, that is also basic things you have to remember. Okay, then second schedule. सेकेंड शेड्यूल में क्या आता है? सेकेंड शेड्यूल, okay, it is salaries of the, that is your various persons, salaries of various that is various dignities. Okay, salaries of that is your सेकेंड शेड्यूल में क्या आता है? सेकेंड शेड्यूल, okay, so that is your second schedule of Indian Constitution. Okay, so that is the salaries, that is salaries of, salaries and allowances of various constitutional offices. Salaries of the president, salaries of the vice, that is chairman of Rajya Sabha, salaries of the that is speaker of Lok Sabha, salaries of deputy speaker of Lok Sabha, and even the speaker of legislative assemblies, deputy speaker of legislative assemblies, chairman of legislative council, deputy chairman of legislative council, judges of Supreme Court and High Courts, and the Comptroller and Auditor General. So these are mentioned in the second schedule, that is salaries and allowances of various provisions related to, you can write provisions related to various constitutional offices. Okay, so that is the thing about the thing about the first schedule and second schedule. First schedule contains name of the states and the name of the states and union territory. Second schedule contains the what? So provisions, salaries and allowances of the president, vice president, and others. Then third schedule, that is oaths and affirmations, oaths and affirmations of various offices, constitutional offices, you can write. Fourth schedule, so how they will, that is oath, manner of oath, that is allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha. How many seats, that is Rajya Sabha has elected seats? Okay, that is 233. So Rajya Sabha allocation of seats. Also answer, what is the seat of that is what is the number of seats allotted to West Bengal in Rajya Sabha? Okay, you will answer this in your comment box. So fourth schedule is allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha. Third schedule is oaths and affirmation of the things. Okay, then the thing we'll discuss, that is fifth schedule. Okay, so that is the things, fifth schedule. So we shall discuss the fifth schedule states. Fifth schedule, that is scheduled areas in other states. Then sixth schedule, that is tribal areas in Assam, Meghalaya, that is Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. So the difference between that is the fifth schedule and sixth schedule is that the scheduled areas means it is declared by the President of India. Scheduled areas. Scheduled area is declared when a certain region has certain that is fulfill some characteristics, some problems. That is must be that is the concentration of tribal people. Okay, one of the factors. Then economic underdevelopment, infrastructural lagging, lack of infrastructural development, lack of economic development. Okay, so uh, these are called the scheduled areas. In other states, about you can say there are about 10 states which are having with scheduled areas. Okay, and in the sixth schedule, mostly these states are tribal dominated, and hence they are included in six scheduled parts. So different approach is provided for the administration of scheduled areas, and the governor of the respective states looks after it directly without consulting the council of ministers. So you can say that scheduled areas are directly, in a way, directly administered by the central government on behalf of the governor rules it, the governor administers it on behalf of the central government. And there are four states found in six scheduled states because these are basically tribal dominated states. Mizoram is about 95% or above persons belong to tribal community. So therefore, hence a different arrangement has been made and they are put in six schedule. But fifth scheduled states are found in most of the states. West Bengal, that is your not West Bengal, that is Maharashtra, your Gujarat, Odisha, and there are also Bihar, Jharkhand. Okay, so there are sorry Jharkhand, not Bihar, Jharkhand, then Himachal Pradesh, then Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Okay, Karnataka also. There are certain states which are having which have scheduled areas, and they have a different structure. So they are provided they need different special attention for their development. Therefore, they are put in fifth schedule and sixth schedule. Okay. Then there is another things that is seventh schedule. Seventh schedule is that is your that is you can speak about seventh schedule. It is one of the important important that is division of power. Division of power. Okay, so recently there are union list and state list. Then your that is concurrent list. So what are the lists? The lists are that the division of power. Union list means it contains certain subjects. It is about today if you provide it is 99 subject. I will update if there is a error. Okay, then state list may there are 59 and in concurrent list that was 52. Originally it was that is 47. Okay, so now it is getting updated. Okay, I will update if there is any error. Okay, but remember, seventh schedule contains division of power. So the union list contains certain subjects which need to be, that is defense or foreign affairs or other that is things are found and on which the union government will legislate. Then state list may there are certain subjects which need the attention of the or which the states can legislate upon, and in the concurrent list there are certain powers which on which both the union parliament and state legislature can legislate. So this is a common list, and the residuary power is sorry that is that is lies with residuary power means the things, the subjects which are not mentioned in the above three list. Okay, that is called residuary power. Okay, so that is called the residuary power today. If any error in that, we will update that. Okay, don't be worried. Then we have that is the thing about 8 schedule. Okay, so 8 schedule of the constitution. Okay, it contain languages to be officially recognized in the country. At present there are 22 languages are officially or constitutionally recognized. Okay, so earlier it was uh, 14. It was 14. Earlier it was 14, but originally, you can say originally it was 14. It has been extended to 22. That means there are 22 languages which are officially recognized. Okay, so we are Bengali, these are that is Hindi, these are well recognized languages. Sindhi, so Sindhi was added that is by 21st Amendment Act 1967. Okay, I will give you a, you must have the list also. I will give you a list, updated list. Okay, 8 schedule. So it is contains 22 languages. Originally it was 14, means in the at the inception of the constitution there were 14 languages. Okay, students. So these are the things. 8 schedule contents and 21st Amendment Act 1967 added your what Sindhi language and other languages like Bodo, Dogri, Santali. Okay, and last it was added later. Okay, then also there is Manipuri, Konkani. They were added by another amendment. I will give an update, or I will provide a list to you. You can check that. Okay. Then the thing about the okay. So ninth schedule was added by First Amendment Act 1951. It contains land reforms and Jamindari, abolition of Jamindari. Later, it became a safe shelter for many states because 9th schedule was made judicially not reviewable. So many the state government, many even central government took undue advantage and put many acts in the 9th schedule, preventing the judiciary from reviewing it. There were about 294 acts were included. It became very heavy and bulky. So in the famous Kesavananda Bharati case, probably 1973, the Supreme Court made it clear that any 24th April 1973 is judicially reviewable. So now everything will come under the scanner of judiciary. So 9th schedule was added by 1951 and it contains several land reforms, abolition of Jamindari. Later it became a safe center for many aggressive acts. So therefore there was a stricture put by the judiciary. So now the abuse of 9th schedule was So during the prime ministership of whom? The prime ministership of Jawaharlal Nehru, 9th schedule. Okay. Now 10th schedule, that is called 10th schedule. 10th schedule, that was added by 52nd Amendment Act. 52nd Amendment Act 1985, that is PM Rajiv Gandhi, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, you can write, it contains anti-defection laws. Anti-defection laws. Okay, anti-defection laws. Got it? So that is called 10th schedule. Okay. In the next class we shall be discussing the other schedules, that was 11th schedule and 12th schedules. Okay, and we shall proceed with discussion on various questions related to this making of the constitution and schedules. We shall also discuss parts briefly, then we will have some questions on that. Okay, so overall your constitution part will cover this is the first chapter, first segment of your constitutional part. Then we shall be discussing preamble. Okay, so please let me complete this class here. We shall be discussing other sections of the things about 12, 11 or 12 schedules in the latter class. Let me tell you that we shall be discussing preamble. Okay, then your union and its territory part 1. Then we shall be discussing citizenship. Then fundamental rights, DPSP, directive principle of state policy. Then we shall go to the government part, union government, state government, and also local self government. We shall be discussing. Then we shall be discussing union, that is union government will consist of what? Union parliament, union executive, state government will consist of state executive, state legislature. Okay, then we'll discuss judiciary at a stretch. Then we'll focus on constitutional bodies and extra constitutional bodies. Then we shall be discussing emergencies, elections also. Okay, this is your syllabus. Okay, let me confirm you that I shall complete all of them in the schedule in the provided time. Don't worry about that. We shall also be discussing questions, that is objective questions. Okay, I hope all of you are getting me well and you are getting some justice this class. Okay, it's not your time is wasted. I don't want to waste your time, so this is my preliminary objective. Okay, so therefore I always try to see that everybody enjoys the class and gets some information. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. See you in the next class. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes. Okay. Next class will see you. Okay. I bid you good afternoon to all of you. The class is over. Okay. Thank you.